Hey there, you guys. Today I want to talk about the cost of marketing in video games. Before I get to that, I do want to talk about what's becoming more common knowledge, I think, and it's the fact that these big AAA blockbuster games are becoming increasingly more expensive to develop. They're costing within the $200 million range on average, not to factor in marketing. Not to mention the overextended, long, rigorous process of developing the game that takes upwards of 5 years, or sometimes longer, if you have to scrap and restart the project. So think of something like Metroid Prime 4 or the KOTOR remake. These games are taking longer to make, and they're becoming increasingly more expensive, which means it takes a longer time before they actually see a return on their investment, which brings us back to marketing. It's safe to say that when you spend $200 million on development, you're going to end up spending $200 million more on marketing, creating a total cost of $400 million. That sounds absurd to me when I buy a $70 video game, $60 video game, and think about the amount of money that it took to get this on the store shelves and hopefully get enough people to buy it from there so that they could make a return on profit. It's a very scary and troublesome issue. And in today's video, I kind of just want to talk about marketing tricks and specifically what I think the best marketing strategy is. With that being said, my name is Christian. If you guys like this video, do me a favor and like this video. Please consider subscribing as it does help me out tons. And with that, let's get into this video. On the run up to Final Fantasy 16, I saw a bunch of different marketing strategies being taken place. Things like your average YouTube commercial, things like showing up at the PlayStation showcases, the PlayStation State of Plays, even things outlandish like bus ads, like where they would paint an entire bus with the face of Clive. Things that I feel like the publishers think work because they worked well in the past. But I think something like a YouTube commercial that you can skip in 5 seconds doesn't really capture the audience unless you're doing something crazy out the gate immediately within those 5 seconds. This isn't back in the day with like TV ads where you couldn't really skip those TV ads. Yeah, sure, you can record and maybe fast forward back beyond it. But I remember when I was a kid and you were watching whatever show it was, in the middle of your show, you'd get 3, 4 ads maybe. And you couldn't skip those ads. You were forced to watch it and you were forced to engage with it. So it increased the opportunity for you to go out and buy that game or tell your parents to go out and buy that game because you saw more of it. Versus if you show me 5 seconds of Final Fantasy 16, if I don't play video games that much or if I don't know what Final Fantasy is, there has to be something very compelling on those 5 seconds to really make me want to go out there and invest, or even just invest in watching the rest of the commercial, or go out and actually purchase the game. So I feel like I just don't understand where they're pulling their metrics from that show that this type of marketing works. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it works. Maybe it does really well. But I feel like after the bus ads, after the state of plays and the showcases, after the YouTube commercials, most people pretty much felt the exact same way they felt pretty much when Final Fantasy 16 was announced, when we first saw the trailers. You're either down with it or you're not. There wasn't really much swaying the conversation, no matter how long they show it, because they showed this game a lot. It was around everything PlayStation related. It is one of the biggest PlayStation games releasing currently, and still the conversation was not changing. So what actually did it? What was the marketing piece that changed the narrative on Final Fantasy 16? And it was the release of the demo. Once the demo dropped, once people actually played the game for free for a little bit with their hands on the controller, they understood. They got it. Me personally, I was already going to buy the game, but experiencing the demo definitely sold me on it way more, and I couldn't wait to buy it, and in turn made me go out and tell tons of people about this game. It made me go out and tell people, hey, check out the demo, and then you'll be convinced. It gave me a way to tell and market it with my own word of mouth, as well as just every other person who played the demo and then went on to tell their other friends, hey, go play this demo. The amount of YouTube videos I watched where someone was telling someone else to play the demo, and then after the demo they were saying, oh damn, I want to play this game, is outlandish. It is crazy to say that it just took just letting people play the game to convince people that this is a good game. Which brings me to what I think the best form of marketing is, and that is freaking demos, man. And I'm glad to see that demos are making a resurgence. And even just this year alone, I purchased 2 games based off the demo. Wulong Fallen Dynasty and Like a Dragon Ishin were 2 games that had demos that released that got me so interested in playing the game that I went out and bought them day one. They were games that were already on my radar, to be fair, but I was kind of iffy whether or not I was actually going to pick them up. Wulong and Like a Dragon were also releasing around time that I was going to pick up different games that I was interested in. But because those games didn't drop demos and this games did drop demos, it was easier for me to commit to buying these games because I already knew I liked what I played. I was already sold on it and I was already willing to give them my money. So yeah, demos definitely work for me. They definitely help me want to play the game, especially when you have a demo that's just like the first segment of the game and it says, hey, play the first segment of the game and then go out and, like, when you buy the game, your save is going to carry over into the actual game. I feel like this is the best way to market your game because you're not lying to the customer. You're not really trying to hide anything from them. You're saying, hey, look, here's a portion of my game. This is what you're going to be playing. No amount of trailer, no amount of commercial, no amount of anything else can really sell you on a game more than just allowing you to get your hands and the controller and actually experience it for yourself. And I feel like it got to be the cheapest way as well because you're already developing the game. You just slice out, again, I mean, I'm talking very remedial on it. I'm not a game developer. I don't really understand how you can just cut off a piece of the game and say, here's access to just a demo. But to me, that sounds a lot cheaper than painting a whole entire bus, then commercials, then all these things that have to cost a lot of money. Things like Super Bowl ads or billboards, they cost a lot of money to plaster everywhere, and they have a very smaller, I think, audience than just saying to a PlayStation fan base, go out there and download this game today. And I feel like that sparks a conversation within the community that you want to sell your game into. If I want to buy a game and I'm already watching PlayStation 5 showcase state of play, I'm the most hardcore market that's going to be the easiest to turn into dollar bills. So you tell me, hey, demo available today, I'm going to play that game. Even if I'm not really that interested in the game, I'm going to give it a shot. I played the Pikmin 4 demo knowing I wasn't going to like Pikmin 4. But I played it just in case the demo sways me and because it was available. So again, I feel like making the game available, making it accessible, making it free, and it kind of creates this conversation around it, especially if your game is good. Obviously, if your game is bad, it's going to backfire heavily. People aren't going to want to play the game, and that's when you want to kind of hide and conceive yourself, whatever the hell. But if your game is good and you know your game is good, put it out there. Let people experience a taste of it. That way, they're more interested, more inclined to check it out, and then they can go and tell their friends, hey, go check out that demo as well. And there's no cost of entry at this point. You're just selling them on the concept and the idea of it. And once you have them hooked, they're not going to be able to forget it. Lies of P is a game that I'm very highly anticipating because of that demo. It was a game that I was already interested in to begin with, again. But after the demo, it completely sold me on it. And in turn, made it easier for me to go tell other people, hey, go download that demo and check it out. You might be interested in it as well. But this isn't a new strategy. I remember back when we had the first original Xbox, my brother would always bring home like a bunch of demo discs. And it was like these things, they're like exhibition demo discs, I think that's what they were called. And this is where the first time I played things like Fable, I played Halo for the first time. And it really got us an idea of what we're going to be playing on our Xbox. Not to mention on the disc, it had like trailers of other things and like interviews and extras. It had a lot of really cool things aside from the demo. And I really missed that kind of style of marketing where I feel like they were just kind of just always trying to show off their cool things and they were always very excited about it. And it's been a long time since I think we've seen this much demos drop. Like the amount of demos dropping this year alone is exciting. And I'm hoping more developers kind of catch on to this form of marketing, this form of like being honest with your customers. And I feel like, you know, as gaming becomes more mainstream, as the customer base, the fan base becomes more knowledgeable on a lot of the shady tricks that developers and publishers like to do, I think it's going to become more useful to show off demos, because again, we're not impressed by CGI trailers anymore. We're not even impressed by in-game cinematic trailers anymore. Sometimes even gameplay doesn't really highlight what it is to really play and experience it. Sometimes all it takes is just to actually play the game a little bit, hype it up, and then in turn spread it through word of mouth. Because no matter how many trailers I see, if someone I know and I trust tells me to buy a game, I'm gonna take their word for it, because we've already built that kind of rapport. So, like I said, developers, publishers, invest more in demos, invest more in giving the fan base something to kind of play and hype up prior to release, because that's going to be the biggest way you're going to market your game. Are all these influencers, all these people who are friends with somebody, a coworker, all of them spreading the gospel truth about how good your game is. And it works 9 times out of 10 better than any billboard, any bus painted, any commercial ad, whatever that you want to say. Obviously, you don't want to remove those have its place and its purpose, but maybe relying a little bit more heavily on demos can spark bigger interest in your game. Because when all these influencers, all these people's friends go out and spread the gospel truth about your game, it carries more weight than a commercial or a trailer would. Not to mention the metric part, the analytical part. I think it'd be easier to see how many people are interested in your game based off how many people download the demo, how many people went through and played the demo, how many people on like socials are raving about your demo. I feel like that's a bigger mark of interest than just views on a YouTube trailer. Anyways, you guys, those are my final thoughts on this subject. Let me know down below what your guys' favorite demo you guys played this year, or if you guys think they're an effective way to market games. With that being said, I'll see you guys on the next video.